Okay, so for those of you who don't know me personally, I am a massive idiot. Last time we were out here on BLM land looking for antelope, we saw antelope twice. The first time was a doe and a fawn, and I had a shot at them at about 70 yards. It was pretty close. And I didn't take it because I was under the impression that my tag was for a buck antelope. Double-check the tag, double-check the regs, and my tag is for any antelope in this unit. So I passed up some really, really good meat just because I wasn't paying attention to my tag. So always know what you're actually doing out here and know what you're looking for. But now that we know, we're looking for any antelope out here. So wish us luck.
James Pfeiffer sucks.
Eric, go back on that road. Come up the other side of the ridge. We just spotted 3 antelope on a ridge.
You don't need to whisper.
We just spotted 3 antelope up. We just spotted 3 antelope up on a ridge. They saw us, so now we have to go kind of take a road back around them and hope we can use the ridge that they're on the other side of to block our stalk. Very exciting. Carlot's gonna yell at you.
Just worried if we go too far forward,
Yeah.
we might overshoot him.
Come to like right there. Can't fucking believe it. I'm aiming for right at 300. Missed the first shot. Second shot was bang flop. All eyes on him. Eric, bring the binos up. He's just a little patch of brown. On the ridge, yeah. You see him? Holy fuck. I think I got him. Let's go make sure. I can see it down right now. This is my first medium game animal harvest. All on public land. You can fucking do it. To me.
I didn't do anything, I'm crying.
Oh, well, let's go get the truck, huh?
Yeah. Oh, let's do that hug again.
Looking did it, dude. We're not skunked.
Yes.
Thanks, little buddy. Oh, we are gonna use every bit of you, bud. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel glad for the work that I put in to get here, I feel sorry for this individual animal that he was the one. I feel excited for all the food I'm gonna make for my friends and my family. Yeah, this guy's gonna eat great. He's probably a yearling male. Just popping up little baby buds of horns there.
All right, so James got an antelope down, and now it's time to break it down. Tools we're gonna use for this are pretty straightforward. Some nitrile gloves just to keep our hands clean. They won't stay entirely clean. The gloves aren't perfect, but it's a nice little precautionary thing, especially once you get into the guts. And then we're using this knife, which is a Havalon. It's got replaceable blades. They are hyper sharp, so you want to be very careful when you're using this. There's a bunch of different models of this and a few different brands that have replaceable blade knives, but I really like them because you don't have to worry about sharpening. When you dull one of these knives, you just throw the blade away and get a new one. So they're all super lightweight and easy to pack around if you are packing into the backcountry. All right, let's get to it. There's a lot of steps involved, so we're gonna have to do some dubstep.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. The exit wound is sort of on the top of his back, so what we're gonna do is just try to open up the main cavity and get these guts opened up so we can get them out of there. So the first thing we're doing is we're starting at the brisket, and we're just gonna slowly work our way with the grain of the hair so you don't cut any hair into the meat. Like I said, this knife is super sharp, so you wanna make sure you're not cutting yourself with it.
Keeping the knife face up like that helps to keep you from accidentally nicking any of the guts while you're doing this initial step. Is that the breastbone still?
Oh no, not good eats.
That's bad.
So Eric accidentally punctured the gut area. This is the exact opposite of what you want to do in this situation.
You can smell it if you're down here.
Describe it.
It's
A little poopy.
It's a little poopy. It's a little grassy, a little sage.
Definitely some sage.
Yeah.
So basically I'm going to cut all the way down to the pelvis so that we can get all of these guts out.
There you go.
Cool. Now I'm going to go back on the same line just to make sure we got
All the way to the breastbone.
all the way to the breastbone so that we can really get in there.
Nice, dude.
Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, found the diaphragm. I'm just gonna sever that from the inside of the rib cage.
How can you tell it's the diaphragm?
It's like the fleshy fun bridge. That's not what that means. No, it's like a little flesh wall between sort of the intestines and the rest of the abdominal cavity.
Cool.
So basically, you can see like the intestines are here, and there's this wall right here, right in front of the intestines. We just want to work along that. Again, making sure not to cut the intestines themselves because that would smell pretty bad.
And taste even worse.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, it's juicy.
That's a soupy mess.
Yep. Can you see the heart?
I can.
Is it intact?
It does seem to be intact.
Awesome.
So that's either dinner tonight or
Yeah.
lunch tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so basically, now that you've got the diaphragm out, you just reach in and you're just
Do you
gonna
want me to pull
grab.
this way?
Just gonna grab and pull.
There's the liver you see.
Yeah. Probably should have cut a little bit more of the diaphragm there.
Gallbladder, kidneys.
Yeah.
There we
There
go.
we go.
I mean, we want that far away from us.
Yep. So, the thing that we want out of here in particular is this liver right on top. We do not want this stuff down at the bottom, which is the intestines. So I'm going to pull this over here. It's a very intact liver. It's a pretty good looking one. a little shot up on the top, it looks like, but you can put 2 of those quarters in the
Yeah, in one.
in one.
Yeah.
And do.
Where's it?
Yeah. Let's do that here. Yeah.
Turn over. Mostly just want to get the hair off this.
Yeah.
Like that. There we go. Perfect.
Cool.
Nice looking liver, huh?
Yeah. Let that drip dry. You don't want to put anything too wet into the game
No.
bag.
Not unlike a little meat condom.
Not unlike.
I mean, I don't know who uses condoms anymore, but.
Don't. We're going to cut that out. Try again. All right, so we're going to toss this liver into the game bag. And the first piece is good. One of those, it's tricky because I don't want to
Yeah.
cut the meat off, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Just see if I
Should
can.
just pull it through. Oh,
It's totally fine.
there
Yeah.
it is.
Nice. Cool. So 1/4 is free. The hide is the thing that traps. The hide and the guts are sort of the things that trap the most heat. So you want to get both of those out of there as quickly as possible. A lot of people will do what's called the gutless method, where you leave the guts in the entire time, and you basically take stuff off the outside. It is considerably less messy, which is nice, but downside is that you don't usually keep the organs, which are not really a negotiable part of the equation for me.
Let's get this skin there.
Yeah, cool.
That thing is silly sharp.
Yep.
Oh, almost free.
And there's a shoulder.
Right.
So that's the whole front.
Hold it up higher.
That's the whole front right leg. So I got your shoulder up here. You can see there's not a ton of meat on this guy since he was relatively young, but that'll still be good eating. Slow cook that.
Yeah.
Pull the meat off.
Totally.
All right. One leg in.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's the trachea.
Trach. Trach love the kids. I surprised myself with that one.
Wow. Trach love the
That's
kids.
a new level of dumb.
Only you, Eric. Trach daddy.
Trach day.
There you go.
Because that is done. Now what we're gonna do.
Oh yeah, and that sheath just comes right off, huh?
Yep.
Beautiful. Careful you don't drop it after when
Yep.
it comes free.
You can use one of the ventricles as a handle. This is all terribly macabre unless you've had heart before and you understand how delicious it is. It's like one of my favorite pieces of the animal. Lungs, however, not so good eats.
Rinse it off?
Yeah, so we'll give this. Yeah, that's
And
cleaned,
get inside.
cleaned up. Nah, it's fine. Doesn't need to be that. Or unless
I
you.
like cleaning inside.
All right.
There we go. Alright, I'll go get the
Game bag.
organ bag.
Organ bag.
Show me.
One rinsed heart from an antelope. Little guy, it's probably like 4 ounces. Maybe 6. But
That's
it'll
6
be
delicious ounces.
6 delicious ounces. Does look a bit like a murder scene.
It is.
It is. This in particular is great. The wedding ring.
Oh yeah. Send Michelle a picture of that. Huh?
Mhm.
See that. Hold it out in the light. There you are. Wow.
This is what you signed up for, Michelle. I hope you're happy.
Looking beautiful.
So, we need to trim off some of this bloodshot meat on the rib section that we've got. We're going to keep that whole rib section intact, which should be cool if we decide to cook it right when we get home, or we can split it with a saw when we get home and then vac seal those individually. But right now,
Do you not look like looking at the camera, or?
no, I thought you were focused on the meat.
No, just on your face. I was focused on the meat. The other meat.
Hey.
Hey.
So you can see this is pretty gristly. It looks sort of like a little bit of ground meat already.
Almost like I shot it with a gun, huh?
Almost like you shot it with a high-powered rifle. So we're just gonna take that all right off, unfortunately.
Oh, that would have been tasty.
Yeah.
I'm sure the coyotes will like that.
All right. And that, my friends, is that. Like James said, we'll do more cleaning up when we get it home. But for now, that should be transport worthy.
Yep. Alrighty, we're good.
You want to make sure, in this case, the animal died literally on the road. So you want to make sure you get all your stuff out of the people's way if you're on a major path or road or something like that. But otherwise, just let nature take its course. You know, the coyotes, the birds, the various insects and grubs and stuff will have a fine meal from what we don't take home today.
Yep.
All right. So basically, we got all the meat in game bags, and we're gonna put it in a cooler that's got some ice already ready to go in it, which will get everything cooled down to a safe temperature and ready for transport back home.
Ready to eat now. Okay, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient.
That's good.
So we're gonna wash our knives.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we are out here 9,400 feet above sea level, and we're gonna cook some food. A lot of people, when they go into the backcountry, whether by necessity or by choice, tend not to actually cook a real meal. You'll get sort of these freeze-dried meals, or just subsist on bars and energy chews and beef jerky and that sort of stuff. But I found that I stay longer in the backcountry if I have at least one hot, good, actual meal per day. So with that in mind, James shot an antelope yesterday. So we're gonna cook up a little bit of that. But first, we're gonna cook some rice. So we got some Zatarain's cilantro lime. Zatarain's is a pretty good choice because it's usually got some flavoring built in, and it's easy, but it does take a while, which is why we always start with rice. So it takes 20-25 minutes to cook. So we'll get that going, and then we'll get started on our antelope. All right, so here's the game bag of good stuff. What we're gonna do today is the heart and the liver. So I'm just gonna grab those out and then put the game bag back in the cooler so that everything else stays cold. All right, so what we're gonna do here is prep our heart and liver. I tend to toss out this bit here at the top. Not strictly necessary. I think it's probably still fine, but I actually don't know that for sure, so I just toss it. You motherfucker. Okay. Now, some of this hard fat at the top here is also not great in a fast cooking application like the one we're gonna do, so I'm gonna take that off as well. Okay, so that's our trimmed heart. So now what we're gonna do is just cut this into, I think, 3 even pieces. So we're gonna have a thick slice up here, a slice here, and then we'll take that little nubbin off the end. Clean that up in a second. Alright, so you can see we didn't fully get out the dark red bloodshot meat here, so, or not even bloodshot meat, just blood. So we're gonna pry out those last little bits, so this is all ready to go into the frying pan. Now for the liver, we're just gonna do a pretty similar operation actually. We're just going for similar thickness sort of slabs. Trim off any of that not good stuff. Make sure there's no sage left on here. None of the hair from the actual antelope. You can see it's a little mealy over here on this end. We're just going to cut that off. A lot of hunters don't like venison liver, so it gets left in the field a lot, and I think that's a damn shame, because when done right, it's supremely, supremely tasty. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of this on the end we'll end up trimming off, but it's hard to get a good shot of it, so we'll wait until we cut these slices, and then I'll go clean each one up individually. Yeah, so that little end piece is not going to be great. Yeah, if you encounter anything that's hard, a piece of liver, that's something you probably don't want to eat. The rest of it is so soft that you have to cook it really either gently or quickly to keep it from getting tough and gristly on you. So if there's anything that's hard in there, it won't have time to break down in a short cook like that, and you want to make sure you trim all that out. Liver is also one of the organs that does not freeze very well. So I find it's either best to use it when you're in the field. It sautés up very nicely, especially with some bacon, which is what we're going to do with it. If you don't have time to, or inclination to do so in the field, and you have to freeze it when you get home because you're too busy, which is, let's be honest, very frequently the case. Life happens. Then it actually makes pretty good dog treats. So you can dehydrate, you can freeze the liver in a vacuum bag, and then whenever you're ready to deal with it, take it out and throw it in the oil, slice it and throw it in the dehydrator, and it turns out pretty good. Or at least my dogs love it. I've not tried it myself. You can see we're already starting to get a little bit of a skin forming on the meat of the heart. It's high up here at elevation. The air is thinner and things just dry out real quick, especially when you got a wind like we do. All right, so the meat's all chopped up, ready for the pan. We're just gonna get everything heated up and get going. So for this, we're gonna use pretty high heat. So I'm gonna open the stove burner up to pretty full bore while trying to keep the other one at low, which is always a challenge with a lovely stove like this. All right, now while that heats up, the oil we're gonna use today is avocado oil. It's got a really high smoke point, which makes it perfect for this sort of really high heat application. Get out of here, bees. It's not for you. Yeah, really high smoke point on avocado oil is great for that. The only thing you have to worry about when taking it into the backcountry is that it has a relatively high freezing point as well. So if you are in a very cold environment, you will sometimes wake up to your frozen avocado oil, which is not super useful. In the past, when we encountered this, we've just thrown it into the pot of warm water and let it sort of melt down. Works. It's a little janky. Maybe keep some canola as a backup, something like that. Or obviously animal fats are a good backup. Butter, rendered, schmaltz or something like that. All right, so that is it's getting warm. So we're gonna hit it with some oil. Let the oil heat up. You want to let your pan heat up first, then let your oil heat up after you add it, and then add your food. As far as seasoning for the heart today, we're going to do a little kosher salt and a little bit of some Jamaican jerk spice rub that I got. Kosher salt has got usually a higher or a larger crystal size, which makes it adhere to food pretty well, and it's easier to distribute with your hand. As you can see, I'm sort of free-handing it. Cast iron is hot. We're just going to give it a little swirl to make sure the oil is evenly coating the pan. And now you can see you're starting to get a little smoke on the pan, so that's when we want to toss the food in. Heart is sort of a funny one. A lot of the hardest working muscles in an animal are really tough, and so you end up having to use sort of really low heat over a long amount of time to break them down and make them tender. Heart is like the hardest working muscle in the animal, and if you cook it hot for a short amount of time, it turns out great. So we're looking for just barely rare here. Yeah, that's great. The old mantra of never flipping anything more than once is hogwash. So definitely feel free to, if you are not getting the temperature you want, just flip it back over so you don't burn one side. I also am a big proponent of taking a meat thermometer with you, even if you're going into the backcountry. Obviously, if you're packing in on your back, that would be a different story, but car camping, it's pretty great. Especially for something as delicate as a antelope heart, we want to make sure we don't overcook it. Okay, and those are getting pretty close. Yep, those are done. Woohoo!
Hey, buddy.
Hey folks, this is the antelope or the heart from the antelope that I shot yesterday. I'm really excited to give it a taste and gain its powers. So here we go.
Yeah.
That was delicious. I feel faster already.
All right, let's dig in.
That is perfect. Yeah.
All right, so we just finished up our heart and rice appetizer, if you will. A lot of times with a camp stove like this, you can't cook everything all at the same time. So we did that first round, and now we're gonna get onto the liver. I'm gonna put the avocado oil aside, and we're gonna get to some bacon. Bacon and liver is a classic pairing, and who am I to argue with the classics? All right, so we're gonna get the stove started again. Not quite as high heat. You want at least I want bacon to be sort of rendered and crispy as opposed to chewy and fatty still. You can definitely just start the bacon in a cold or even warm pan, it's fine. All right, so the bacon is pretty much done cooking, and we're gonna remove it from the pan onto some paper towels, and then get that liver seasoned and get it in there. Now you could, if you wanted to at this point, remove some of the fat from the pan. That would be the conventional wisdom when cooking in bacon fat. But we don't have a really great place to put that bacon fat, and so I'm just gonna let it ride. All right, pan is hot, in we go. You really want to make sure you don't overcook liver. So it is better to pull it out of the pan early, and if it's under your preferred doneness, then toss it back in, as opposed to ending up with something that's mealy and gross and a little longer.
Now, admittedly, liver is not my favorite, but this was never frozen, so the texture should be pretty good. Let's see how the flavor is. Not bad. Thanks, antelope. Yep.
Now, you note that I've got a can of bear spray on my hip here. Don't recommend that you season your food with that. However, if bear comes into your camp cooking area, say because you're frying stuff in bacon, that's when you'd want to deploy that. All right, so we got back from the trip, took showers, got haircuts, got back to normal city living, and we're gonna cook up some of the antelope that we brought back. This here is the full side of the antelope. So it's got the ribs, as you can see a little better from that side, and the loin is still attached. This is a cut where it's a little difficult to get it vacuum sealed and put in your freezer, so it tends to be something that we just cook right when we get home. And that's what we're gonna do. So we've got our temperature probe stuck in here. This is it's called the meter. It's which, I love me a good pun. The meter is a Bluetooth thermometer for grilling and smoking and that sort of thing. It's great when you want to monitor the temperature of what you're cooking without having to constantly jump in and open the grill or the oven and check the temperature manually. So
when you're grilling like this, you don't really need to add a whole ton of seasoning to it. You really want to let the animal breathe. So all we've really done here is add salt and a little bit of butter to keep the meat moist. But other than that, we're letting it breathe.
Yeah, just gonna taste like antelope. All right, let's get this thing thrown on the grill. We're gonna throw it on with the loin sort of resting on this upper rack so that it cooks a little slower than the rest. And
Get a good shot there. I'll close that for now, keep that heat in. Roasting anywhere from about 200 to 270 should get you there. You really don't want to go much hotter than that because then you really risk drying it out.
just feeding a little hickory chips down in here to get some good smoke flavor on the meat. We're cooking at a low enough temperature that we're not really looking for like a strong sear at this stage. We're just looking for flavor and cooking it to the doneness temperature that we're looking for.
You should be able to find hickory chips at any hardware store, anywhere that sells grills. You can also use pretty much any other major hardwood or fruit wood.
Yeah.
Cherry, apple, those are all very common. Mesquite is going to give you a pretty distinct flavor, so I might shy away from that. But hickory is kind of a good middle ground between the less demonstrative hardwoods and something like mesquite.
Yeah, the fruit woods are great if you're trying to get a little more sort of a sweeter smoke flavor. But we're looking for something relatively neutral and smoky, so hickory does the job. All right, and we're just gonna keep an eye on this temperature. It's dropped down below 200 because we had the lid open for so long. We're just gonna let it open up a little bit, try to come back up to around that 200 to 250 range and slow cook until it's done.
So we're gonna go ahead and give it a flip here. And we're flipping it like turning a page in a book, not like flipping it upside down, because we want to keep that loin area there protected and off the direct heat. So you can see we're getting some nice cooking going on. The butter basting is keeping it all moist and juicy. And in about 45 minutes, we should have something really cooking on our hands here.
So we're gonna start dinner with a little bit of antelope broth. This is actually from last year's antelope doe that I shot. And yeah, I just like starting a meal with a nice little bowl of hot broth. This is just seasoned with salt and that's it.
That's delicious.
Oh, that's nice.
It's so buttery.
Yeah, it's like lighter but weirdly buttery.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's mic is up.
All right. Yo! Pretty excited about this. Yeah, we did the whole antelope rack with the loin on it. A little low smoke, and then finished with some fried sage, a little tomato salad with some paprika and some goat cheese, and then a grilled avocado with some soy sauce on it.
Truly a trophy meal.
Trophy meal, bro? No?
No.
Yeah, no, probably not that. Cut that out.
No, definitely let that roll.
It's my child.
This is my child.
This is my large adult son.
No, I mean that in love.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
All right, cheers,
All right, we
folks.
got our footage. Go for it. Give me toast.
Great meal, team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Yep. To many more.
Many more antelope, that's for sure.
Yeah.